Shalom, everyone. Welcome back to Practical Spirituality here in the old city of Jerusalem. We are live from Ushpiza, which is a beautiful place, beautiful hall right here in the Jewish Quarter. So I'm going to share with you the following bad news, and that is that you're a nobody. Okay, that wasn't very nice. You're not a nobody, you're nobody. Let me make this really clear. A nobody means you're like a loser. Your nobody means that you don't have to be limited by any particular character that you think you are. You're not limited. You're anybody. So wait a second. We just took several steps. So first we started with just the clickbait of you're a nobody. Then we moved it to you're nobody, and now we moved it to you're anybody. And that's really the truth, is that you are anybody. You're really anybody, which means that you could do anything. You could do literally anything. And now I'm not saying you'd necessarily be so good at doing anything, but you could do anything. And let's really take this all back to something much simpler. And that was a rough introduction. So let's just go real simple here. Identity. People have no idea who they are. I have no idea who I am. You have no idea who you are. But when you're about 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, having no idea who you are is really problematic. You see, your first years when you were a toddler, that beautiful child that you were, you had no idea who you were. If someone walked up to you and said, like, who are you? You wouldn't, like, you'd probably just give them your name. I don't know what you'd say exactly. But you had certainly no concept of yourself because you had no self-awareness as a separate individual than anything going on around you. It's only at years 3, 3.5, 4 that you start to realize you're a separate entity than the next person or anything around you. You're for the first time self-aware, and that's why in Judaism we let kids under 3, and this is specifically, I'm going to talk about the boys, we let them grow their hair. Like, we don't cut their hair for the first 3 years because they're like wild animals. I mean, they have no, if they do something wrong today and you tell them not to do it, and then they go ahead and do it tomorrow, the reason they're doing it tomorrow is they don't have any recollection of yesterday. Yesterday doesn't mean anything. They're not yet with a point of reference called the self that's now marking time even. They don't mark time, they're just living in the moment. And so if trying to make a grilled cheese sandwich inside a VHS machine, which used to be how people watched movies, trying to make a grilled cheese sandwich in a VHS machine, if that seemed like a good idea to a 2-year-old, well, the following day it would also be a good idea to him. And punishing him would do basically nothing. From 3 years old, you become self-aware, somewhere between 3 and 4. But Jewish tradition is that at 3 years old, the kid gets 3 things. Keep on their head, they get a haircut. If they're Hasidic now, they cut everything but the payas. And also many other traditions leave the payas of the baby, of the little boy. And the third thing is they get tzitzis, which are, the cosmic dental floss that we wear. And they begin wearing tzitzis. And tzitzis are for remembering. They're about remembering and once you remember, you're obligated. Once you remember something, once you're able to remember, you're now accountable for what was going on yesterday. And you can't just get away with anything. And the tzitzis there are to remember there's God. Whenever you're feeling like you just want to do whatever you want to do, you remember there's a God. Anyway, but let's go back. So when you're about 3 years old, maybe a little older, you become self-aware, but you still have no real identity. And so you have to create an identity. Most people just copy-paste from kids around, friends, parents, teachers, everyone's like copy pasting from people. They're basically looking at others and becoming like them. And this is the root of loneliness. This is one of the saddest things in the world, is that once you're copy pasting, why are you copy pasting? Well, you're copy pasting because you're thinking that people will like you. So, and then they do because you basically mimicked them. And so because you mimicked them, and then they gave you like some kind of adulation for that. So now you could actually go on this whole thing of like becoming liked, but it's not you that they like. It's what you copy pasted that they liked. And so you just kind of get lonelier and lonelier and sadder over the years, but you don't even know you're getting lonely, and you don't even know you're getting sad because everyone likes you. But it's not you they like. And the problem with this also is that if you're not really expressing yourself, so then, you're people. Oh, the other problem is if you're not really expressing yourself, you're not getting practice at it, because self-expression takes practice. And I mean, an artist is self-expressing, but they work very hard, long hours to develop their skills. And self-expression, in being able to express who you are, it takes practice. And all the people who say, oh, when I'll be rich, I'll start saying whatever I really want to say. No, you won't. It takes practice. You can't just one day start doing it. You wouldn't even know what you'd want to say. You gotta start now. And the other reason why it takes practice is because it takes courage. Because if you're going to express yourself, not everyone's going to like it, and you're going to get negative feedback. But you're expressing yourself, and can you express yourself in the face of negative feedback, and not give up your self-expression, even though it's not being well received. But if it's your truth, so then you can't. It's not for sale. That's your self-expression. That's your integrity. That's your authenticity. Now, going back, when you're about 3 to 4 years old, you have no idea who you are. You start copying, pasting from others, but you have all kinds of other things, because human beings' identity is always couched in stories. So if you're from LA, well, it would depend what part of LA, because LA is giant. But LA itself, there's a certain story about LA. I find myself, whenever I say I'm from LA, if someone asks around the world, I always will move the what do you call that, indicator on a map, pin. I move the pin to the coast. So I'll say, yeah, I'm from LA, right where LA meets the northern coastline area called Malibu. But I'll like move the pin for them, because I'm trying to give a better picture of who I am. But that's not who I am, because I'm from LA. It doesn't, it's certainly, a lot of my character is connected to having grown up in LA, but I'm not LA. You can't be where you're from. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nibro. A lot of people have the story of their religion, and that becomes their, part of their identity is their religion. Judaism certainly has a major narrative of this nation that was born in another nation, in Egypt, and the and then there were these plagues and the splitting of the sea, and then this Mount Sinai, massive, revelation, a national prophetic experience took place. And is that my identity because I'm born from that community? Is that who I am? Am I the name Yom Tov? Like, if you put me in an MRI, what's on the screen? Does it show Mount Sinai? Does it show the name Yom Tov over and over again? Does it? What's over there? So obviously an MRI is not going to be a good way to find identity. what I'm saying really is, what if you were no one? Could you be cool with being no one? Would that be a problem? Like, would that be scary to be no one? And who are you after you die? You know, obviously you have a soul, so you're going to outlast your life, but, you know, you'll outlast your physical body, but who would you be then? Are you still male or female? Are you? The chances is that you're no one, meaning you'll have a soul, but what is the soul? Souls don't have gender, you know. The soul doesn't have male or female, you know, European, Asian, Middle Eastern, you know, like none of that stuff touches your soul. And the soul is the only thing that'll be lasting, you know. The soul is the only thing that'll be like, you know, be here for the long haul of your life. What if we just got rid of all of our identity and just went with the soul? What if we just get rid of identity and we'll just be soul alone, you know, just the soul. And this body's just a cage. It's a soul cage. You know, the Sting had a song called Soul Cages. Soul Cages. And the Police had an album called Ghosts in the Machine. And if we just went with that as our identity, if we just went with the soul as the identity, where do you begin? Where do you end? What's your limit? Do you even have a limit? So you get to this unlimited self. Well, once your self becomes unlimited, any given particular task, anything required of you, any responsibility, is within the realm of possibility. You know, anything that you would be required of, anything that would be required of you, you could do. And it also would be vastly reducing the ego, which has its own will, because I can get off, meaning I may want something, but I can get off it pretty quick if there's no real identity that I'm holding on to. Meaning if I can be no one, but I really, really want a sandwich, but it's Yom Kippur and it's a fast day. So it's like, but I want a sandwich. Well, who's I? I's no one. I's just the soul. And, you know, and the Torah tells us that, you know, what is the Torah? What are the 613 commandments? It's a way of saying it's the 613 ways of caring for the soul. You know, we're caring for our soul. And if caring for the soul on this day means no sandwich, or any other fast day throughout the year means no sandwich, so the rule is, for my soul, no sandwich, but I want a sandwich. Well, who is that I? Who is that guy? And so the answer is, well, it's my ego. And what's the ego? Well, the one thing the ego is not, well, I don't know if you'd say it like that, but the one thing it is it doesn't like being told what to do. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. So if I want a sandwich, I want a sandwich. Don't tell me I can't have a sandwich. And if I want to, you know, if I want to light a fire and cook on Shabbos, so that's my will, but that's my ego. You're not allowed to cook on Shabbos. So as long as I'm a soul, it's very easy to keep Shabbos. But as long as I'm some identity with its own will, so then it's very difficult to keep Shabbos if someone wasn't raised doing it. So it all really boils down to being a soul. It all really boils down to being nobody. And once you're in that nobody state, you can be anybody and in every situation. So let's say you're in a business meeting and you're in a conference room, and in the conference, the owner of the company can't show up, but the meeting still has to be had because decisions have to be made, and they all point to you. If someone is an identity, that's clearly not the owner of the company identity, so they'll just say, listen, I can't do it. But in the situation where you're just the spirit, you're not anything but the spirit that vivifies your body, and these decisions need to be made, and everyone's pointing at you as the person who would be next best at making these decisions. Well, step into those shoes. Step into those shoes. There's a lot of great stories. I wish I could tell you one right now. I can't, but there's a lot of great stories of situations where there was no one else who could have done a job, and one person felt the responsibility deeply but didn't have the skill sets, who today is known for, having pulled off some incredible feat as a result. Because there's a certain gift from God that when there's no one else to do it and you take on to do it, that you suddenly get the skills. You're imbued with the power to fulfill what's needed. And that makes total sense in a God-generated world, meaning in this God production we're in, that if there was a need, and it's a clear need, and there's no one naturally there to fulfill that need, so someone will be imbued with the power to fulfill that need. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And the words, there's actually a mantra. There's several different words you can say, but there's a mantra. And the mantra is, when you're really in that place, you're able to say to God, whoever you call me into being, I am. Try those words. Whoever you call me into being, I am. You can close your eyes and say it a few times. Whoever you call me into being, I am. Again, whoever you call me into being, I am. Open your eyes. And what happens is, as things are moving throughout your day, you're being called into being. Meaning, let's say, for example, my wife calls, and so, okay, so this is now talking to my wife. That's the doing, talking to my wife. The being would be loving, caring, very good listening, which is a bit of a doing, but there's a being of being a listener. Yeah, that's it. And just speak to her. And then I look at my other phone, not that I have two phones, but I look at my other phone, and it's my son's principal. I guess my son's been busted, yeah? And so, well, who do I got to be for this one? So, well, whoever you call me into being, I am, okay? Who would that need to be? Well, who works for who here? Because maybe the principal's going to try to bully me, but he works for me. So let's first of all be the boss of the situation. I'm not working for him, that's for sure. They can go boss sometimes because, just imagine being a principal of a school. You got, all these crazy kids to deal with, but then you got all the parents. So it's easy to turn bully as a principal. Anyway, so who would I got to be? So I got to set the vibration that he works for me. Okay, I'm boss. Hello, Mr. Principal, how's it going? What's going on? And then be in that role, send that vibration his way. Oh, other phone's ringing. Oh, someone needs a little piece of advice. Someone's calling for advice. They got a situation on their hands of whether or not to go forward or to pull back in a dating situation. Oh, they want to speak to the rabbi who knows a lot about relationships. Boom, who do I got to be for that? So I'm the relationship wisdom rabbi. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. So tell me, give me the latest on your last date with this person. Ding. Oh, got over here. One of my kids calling. Oh, little guy. Hey, hey, sweetheart. What's up? What do you need? Yeah. Okay. What do we got over here? My boss. Here I got to be like, now I'm going into this mode of who I am is what's the word? I mean, it's clearly humble, but it's, the word is like under somebody. I don't know how to say it, but you're under your boss. Your boss has seniority, authority, and which puts you as in a secondary position. Okay. Hey, boss, what's up? How can I help you? And who we got over here? Anyway, but what happens is as you play this mantra in your head of telling Hashem, telling God, whoever you call me into being, I am, life gets really amazing. You become like clay in the hands of a potter, and God's the potter, and he keeps sending you these situations. And with every situation he sends you, you can just, okay, who do I got to be for that? Well, who do I got to be for that? Well, who do I got to be for that? And you just keep flowing. You're liquid. You're liquid. You just like, you can go into any shape, and it really takes away the anxiety of the responsibilities. It takes away the nervousness or frustration, or could even take away the boredom of it if it's something that would bore you. You can just wear these hats. And, after Shabbos, there could be quite a lot of dishes in my kitchen. And so God's calling me into that position of just being, I mean, I don't know what the being is of a dishwasher, but I guess a servant, maybe. Meaning I'm a servant of the house. I'm like a housekeeper. And that's what's being asked. Well, here we go. Let's wash some dishes. And usually my wife washes and I dry. So we have a whole conversation. She washes them, I dry them and put them away. And it's very romantic for us. But it's, again, it's just another position that God calls you into being. The words that the Torah uses for that is the word hineni. So you can play with that as well. It's a lot shorter than whoever you call me into being, I am. It's just the word hineni. Try the word hineni. Hineni. It's a construct of the words hine ani. Hine ani means behold, I am. But what it means in English is here I am. So like, for example, when God called to Abraham, he says, Avraham. So Avraham says, hineni, here I am, meaning wherever you want to direct me, I'll go. Moses, God called to Moses, hineni, here I am. And Moses, Moses argued a little bit because he was like, listen, I shepherd sheep. I'm a sheep shepherd. And I don't talk to me about freeing no slaves, please. And God's like, listen, Moses, I'm not asking you not to be a shepherd. Go ahead and be a shepherd, but I want you to shepherd a whole nation. And Moses, who was the humblest of all people, turned out to be a good shepherd for the nation. He's like, shepherd sheep, shepherd nation. Same skill, it's going to take a lot of care. And in fact, there was a stray injured sheep in the lore of Judaism that Moses went and picked up and took care of. And that was like a sign to God that I got the right guy for this job. He's not going to let anyone get left behind. So here I am, hineni, it's being a vessel and really being liquid. And then no one can insult you also, because who did they insult? Certainly not you. Who are you? So there's no one to insult. You can just be in the flow. There's no one to insult, so you don't have to be so worried about being insulted. There's no one to honor, so you don't have to worry that. Make sure you're being honored. There's no one there to honor. You're just filling your roles as they come your way, and you can actually build bigger and bigger roles the whole time because you're just liquid. So you can wind up in quite powerful roles, but at the same time be completely unaffected by it, meaning your ego unaffected. So let's make this our goal. We see God as the king of the universe. Well, kings have a will, and us being God's subjects, so our job is to do the will of the king and to crown the king. Most people are crowning themselves. They crown their eyes when they want to look at this. They crown their thoughts. They crown their brain when they want to think about things they shouldn't be thinking about. They crown their ears when they want to hear gossip, and they crown their mouth when they want to eat the wrong foods, or they want to speak, bad language or disparagingly about a person. People crown their bodies to do whatever they want with their own desires. In Judaism, we crown God. We crown God. And once I crown God, I make him king over my eyes, over my ears, over my mouth. God's king over my body. God's king over my desires. God's king over my thoughts. And we're in a process now of removing our crown, putting it on God's head. So you're not a nobody. You're massive. But you're massive because God makes you massive. And in this liquid state of being, whoever God calls you into being, you are. So please subscribe and hit the bell, hit some likes. Bless.